What's going on, people, and welcome to Nerds Roundtable, where we talk about Marvel, and more Marvel. I'm Snalez. Today we're going to be talking about Loki Episode 2. Before I get started, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Marvel, More Marvel, or Nerds in the Roundtable. That's KNERDS like nights. So this episode is about Loki and Mobius trying to find X5 so he can take them to Sylvie. So it basically starts out in 1977, and they realize that X5 is Zaniac, the famous actor of this movie that has come out during this time. And Zaniac is also a Thor villain, who is basically a whole bunch of demons, a horde of demons that goes and possesses a body of a certain host, and then they become the Zaniac, is basically what happens. So they're interrogating him and trying to figure out, or they're telling him they gotta bring him back and gotta figure out where Sylvie is. So they, he starts to run, and I thought it was kind of weird that I don't know, it was just kind of out of left field when B-15 showed up. I actually had no idea at first who that was. I was like, who in the world? Oh, that must be B-15. I just oh, that must be her. I didn't really, I was like, oh, that was weird. It was just oh, huh. There she is. That was weird. Then we get to see more of the chase. It's kind of fun. Obviously this man cannot outrun Loki, yet he tries. And Loki is a frost giant. So there ain't no contest there. Plus he's in the real world and he uses magic now. So that's what he does. He creates this shadow. It was pretty cool how he did it, I thought. Hope y'all enjoyed that too, because that was wild. Because I was just oh, that man's turning into his Loki form. We're about to see it again, and it was oh no, he grabbed him from the shadows, and I was just oh, that's lit. I was oh snap, this is crazy. And then he used his illusion projection and duplication casting, later on, which was kind of cool. The guys that X5 ran past earlier were the same guys that Loki used for his illusion projection of those guys who were gonna jump him. So kind of crazy there. And I loved how Mobius just assumed Loki was the one in the middle, but Loki was definitely not the one in the middle. He was the one on the left of Mobius, or the right of us, which was hilarious. So just shows his cunning and his skill when he's in battle and when he's in his element, which is very dope. Now they get back and they need OB to look at this tempad and figure out and just figure out what's going on with the tempad. So they go to OB, and OB's bro, I'm trying to figure out this temporal meltdown, dog. I don't got no time for y'all to be coming in here talking about you need help with this tempad. But you can do it. So he gives them the handbook, and they try to figure it out, and they can't figure it out. And they argue over what is the red light on? I thought that was kind of hilarious. Then we figure out later on that Miss Minutes is actually helping Renslayer, which is kind of crazy. So Miss Minutes is rogue in a sense, and Renslayer is too, which is wild. So then we get to the point where Loki and Mobius are trying to interrogate X5. X5 is, as Mobius says, kind of a dick, and he is going to try and get under their skin. Well, he definitely succeeds in that. He gets under Loki's skin and he gets under Mobius' skin. Loki just plays off of it, which I love. He just I love how he just plays up his evil. then we get to see a little bit more of that old Loki, that intimidating Loki, that Loki that was in Avengers, that Loki that was in those old Thor movies, where it was just like intimidation and mind games, and it was just great. Then Mobius comes into the frame and is like, Loki, you need to chill out. Loki, you need to chill out. I'm the Zen master. I'm the Zen master in this TV game. Then he comes in and he says some real stuff to him, X5. He says some real stuff to him. He's like, don't you want to know what your life is like on the timeline? Don't you want to know who you are? Your name's not even Mobius. You know what I mean? Your name's not even Mobius. You gotta go back to the timeline and figure out who you are. You're missing a piece of yourself. You're missing a piece of yourself. This dude gets under this man's skin. And he gets under this man's skin because he is not coping with being a variant well at all. He is just like, what if my life on that timeline is better than it is here? I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that it's better than it is here, because then I missed out on so much of it. And if it's worse, then, good for me for getting out of there. But also, I had a really bad life. Just, oh man, he must be going through it. It's hard to, it would be hard to cope with that realization. So then we jump back to Obi. Obi's freaking out. Obi has figured out that there is no way they can open the blast doors, because they need the makers or the creator of the time loom's temporal aura in order to open the blast doors, so that they can go out there so that they can fix the problem. Or they need Miss Minutes to override that in order for them to go out there and fix the problem. Both are not easy tasks to fix in the allotted amount of time in this episode. So OB is just like, we're all just gonna die. OB is just wild. He's like, bro, we're gonna die. He's like, well, nice to meet you, Casey, but we're all gonna die. And then Casey is just the biggest fanboy. He busts out his little facts about, well, did you try X, Y, and Z on the temporal loom? And OB's like, yeah, I did. It won't work. I wrote it. And Casey's just like, what? You did what now? You did not. You wrote it. No, you lie. You wrote that? I need an autograph. So then he goes and gets an autograph from OB, and B15 is like, you dudes are crazy. You need to hurry up. We need to figure this out. We don't have time for this. So they need to go find Loki and Mobius and tell them what's what. So Loki and Mobius are still trying to figure out, where is Sylvie? They finally figure out where Sylvie is by using this torture box. This torture box is crazy. Shrunk the little stool that he was sitting in down to a littler stool. It was wild. He would have been a littler him in a box full of his guts and body parts if he would have been squished by Loki playing with this temporal, this space box thing. Wild. Anyways, so he basically goes evil Loki again, which is also great to see again. And they play it up. Mobius is outside. Yeah, no, Loki, don't do it, Loki. X5 finally tells them where they are, and then X5 is acting wild. He's acting weird he's acting very strange when they go into this branch timeline where Sylvie is, because he knows something's up. He tells Mobius during this time that he knows something's up. But we'll get back to that in a second. Sylvie doesn't seem to care about Loki telling her about the future, which I find strange. If I was told by somebody, I saw you in the future because I was jumping back and forth through time, and I know it was the future because I was in there and it was clearly the future, why would you not be like, oh, that's strange? But of course, you gotta go against the grain. She's mad still. She's like, I can't believe that this dude did all this stuff. And she's like, I gave you free will. I don't want nothing else to do with you. Nothing else to do with you all. I don't know. In the following episode, she might need a little something from them, a little something from them. But who knows why? Is Renslayer gonna come after her? Maybe, maybe not. So we figure out that X5 knows about General Dox's plan, which is why all of the people in the end of the last episode were running into these portals at the end of it to go to this spot where they were then going to execute said plan, which was to effectively prune multiple branches, or as many branches as they could, up until they were stopped and or they could they no longer had any branches to prune. I thought this was very strange how they decided to show this, because it really, to me, I was like, what? Because they're only showing like a section of the branches, so it's just like, why not show the totality of? Why not show like the everything? Why are you showing just these specific branches that they're currently cutting? It's just weird. And maybe it's so big, it's so vast that maybe they can't, which wouldn't make sense. But it's just like, that leads me to believe that there are no more branches, which there clearly are, because Sylvie goes back to her timeline in the next couple scenes. So it's just like, that was a little iffy for me. But the plan was cool. I enjoy the plan. They get General Dox, and then Sylvie's mad. And then they're all devastated because millions and trillions of people have died. And those were timelines that were actively being lived in. It's a sad and honest truth. Sylvie then is the little end scene with her saying something to this kid, which I was like, why is this? It must be significant for some reason, but So anyway, Sylvie's playing with He Who Remains as Tempad. So we'll see what she does with that in the next episode. I did not enjoy this episode as much as the first, but it was still enjoyable. It pushed the plot forward. It did what it needed to do. We're still in the setup phase of this episode, or this season, of this series, and we have more to go. I really enjoyed the I really so far am enjoying the overall tone of this series as opposed to previous series, such as the one that shall not be named, but I'm gonna name it Secret Invasion. I don't know. It kind of worries me that they say they didn't do reshoots, but at the same time, if they think they got it, maybe they do. That so far they haven't necessarily disappointed, so hopefully they'll keep that train going, and we'll get the old MCU back, and we'll be right back where we need to be. What I think is going to happen in the next couple episodes is we're going to get to Victor Timely in Chicago. We're going to see Miss Minutes, the old-timey version, and it's going to be very interesting what comes out from there. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Marvel. Instagram, QR code. TikTok, QR code. Thank you for listening to Nerds of the Round Table. Peace out.